Welcome, guys. Welcome to the last workshop of this year's program. You've made it. This is workshop 9. And the housekeeping doesn't really change. So as usual, please mute your microphone just so we don't hear the background. It makes for a smoother workshop. Do use the Zoom chat, guys. It's here for you. Any questions, anything that you want to ask to the guys. I don't always see it, but Adele is here, Lucas is here. So they'll be on hand to answer any question that you may have. If you drop off the call, you know that join using the same link. If you are in a breakout room, you'll be redirected to your breakout straight away. And if it's in the main room, you'll be led back in the session by Lucas. Here we are, workshop 9, financial planning. So this evening is all about your business finance. So we will discuss your financial needs, both while you're building the business and once the business is up and running. We will review your pricing model to work toward making an actual profit. And we will review your startup costs to help you get off to a good start. And our goals today, we've got 3 as usual. By the end of this workshop, hopefully you will understand the importance of a clear personal budget. You will also understand the link between costing and pricing when it comes to building your MVP. And hopefully you'll be able to talk with confidence about your business financials on a day-to-day basis, even after the program. And we've broken down the session just like that. So we'll start with a 15-minute video from our champion, Maria, who's talking about her experience dealing with her business financials. Then we'll talk about personal budget. And then it's straight into the first breakout where you work out your personal budget with your mentor. Then it's costs and pricing, a 5-minute break, and then breakout about cost and pricing. And then finally, the third point, the third concept we'll explore are your startup costs. And as you probably guessed, one last breakout outlining what you need to start thinking about the bigger budget, the bigger picture for your business. And finally, we'll come back for to-dos and what's next, and just a couple of partners, financial partners that you might be able to work with after the program while you build your business and financial plan. So guys, the difficulty of financial planning. So when it comes to finance, some of you might have a lot of experience and some of you might just find it plain difficult. And it's completely normal to feel intimidated by the financial side of business, because we know that being passionate or skilled at something doesn't always translate into business success. But the good news is, guys, you can do this. This can be learned. Anyone, absolutely anyone, can learn about finance, and we have a recording about that subject that we'd like to show you. So we'd like to show you that video of Maria from last year, where she talks about her experience with business financial. So Maria is a designer who makes lingerie, including nightwear, headwear. She sells on Etsy, Instagram, and Enka Collective. And Lucas, I'm just gonna stop sharing so you can start the video. And in this video, guys, she will sort of explain how she started, because she was in the same program as you are. And then she talks about being inexperienced and learning how to work out the financial for her business and her MVP.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria and I am the founder and owner of Maria Callisto. So Maria Callisto is a sustainable body positive lingerie brand here in Suffolk. And I would like to speak to you today about finance. So just a disclaimer, I am not an expert in finance. This is how and what works for me. So in the beginning, I wasn't making a lot of money with my business because it's a new business and sales were not really good, to be honest. So I didn't have a need for track my finance and all that. So that's why it took me a while to actually get into the groove of actually keeping track of my expenses and understanding how to do my finance in a way that is easy and effective for my business. So I know it's very confusing, the beginning of your business, especially when it comes to bookkeeping. It could be, you could have a lot of emotions. It's very overwhelming. If you're not very good at math or it's just not your favorite subject, that could kind of put you off because it's about adding, subtracting, percentage, and all those things that is not very fun. It's apparently it's not the fun part of the business. But so I'll just give you a couple of tips on how I get over my fear and the things stopping me from starting finance. I overcame my fear by research. So I looked at YouTube videos of people that have done their finance. There's a lot of videos on stuff like this, and you could find one that is very targeted to your business. I try using a couple of platforms for finance, but I find that a little bit too confusing just because I wanted something that is easy for me to get the grasp of. So, and my third rule is to make it simple. So make it simple, have a spreadsheet, and it could be the most basic spreadsheet. It could be just the date, the item you're selling, if it's how much money you get, and if you're spending, your expenses, your income kind of thing. So just make it as simple as you could understand, and it will not take you a lot of time fidgeting with templates or trying to make it much more complex than it is. And so in terms of pricing my product, so it's very important to get your pricing right at the beginning. I know you can't always get it right, but it's always better to reduce your price than increase it midway of your business. So one of my advice is the beginning, you should spend the time and focus on setting your price right. And not just for yourself in order to make profit, but in order to be matched with your competitors and other businesses around you that sells or provide the same service that you do. So these are the list of things that I put accounts for. So this is the cost of fabrics. So I have to make sure whatever I'm making, I could cover the cost of fabrics and materials. And you could add some bits after it. So in making like my slip that you could see on the slide, so I'm making up the butterfly slips. I know the fabric I need is a georgette. I know I need how many meters do I need. So do I need 1 meter or 2 meters? Then I need to get the butterflies as well. Then I need to get sliders and rings for the adjustable straps. Do I need elastics for this? So just make a list of everything you need for that product you're selling. So just one. So it's not in like a unit, just one per item. And add your time and labor. So I pay myself £10 per hour, but you could pay yourself the minimum wage, which is about £8.63 if you're over 23. And you say how many hours will it take me to make one pair of slips, one pair of the butterfly slips, and then you include your marketing and promotion. So this is like a business card. If you buy a business card from Vistaprint, how much, like £20 for 20 pounds for 100 or something like that, then you work out if am I including my business card in all my orders, and if you are, then you divide that £20 divided by 100, and whatever money you get is how much that business card for just one is that you're adding to the package or the order. and other stationeries like that. So if you want to include a thank you note, if you want to include stickers, you have to include and work out the price that it costs you to make that one sticker or costs you to buy that one sticker. And also it's good to include a bit of percentage of your website. So if you have a platform or a website that you pay monthly or annually, it's good to add a couple of percentage. So it's good to divide them and add that to your order and your pricing as well. And also it's good to have a profit margin. So this is how much percentage of profit you make. So if after you've worked out all the price and how much it takes you to make that one item, then you could decide within yourself and your business if you want to increase the margin by either 20%, 30%, 40%. So it's up to you, but it's good to look at other competitors. So if you have a business that sells the same thing as you, example, if you sell a candle and then you see how much is other people selling their own homemade candles, if it costs you £4 to make one candle and you see the next person is selling it for £8, so that means they've increased their margin by 50%. And you could see, or maybe I could do that as well, I could increase this by 50%, or I could make mine a little bit cheaper. It's also good to work out a wholesale price. So if you're thinking of selling to other businesses or having your stuff in other shops, it's good to include the price of either commission if you're going to have some of your products in a shop, or if a shop is going to buy some of your products, they will not want to buy it at a retail price. So it's good to work out how much it would be to sell it to them as a wholesale. So you could do, if one candle is £4, but they're buying 10 candles, so you could bring that to, let's say, £3. Okay, fine, I'll sell it for £3 for a candle, and that way, depending on the quantity. And also postage price. You should also include your postage price if you're offering free postage. For my lingerie, I do offer free postage with all my lingerie, so I include that in the price. But if you want your customers to be the one to handle that issue, then you don't have to, or any custom fees. So an example is, this is my slip wraps. So this is one of my newest launch, and I use silk shimmers as my fabric. So it's £30 per meter, but I don't use the whole meters. So I use a quarter of a meter, which is about 9 inches to 22 inches. So that would bring up to be £7.50 for my material. So that is just for the silk, and that is for one silk wrap. And I use elastic, but I use a little bit of elastic. So I divide that with the amount of elastic I use, and then I add thread and motions or any other things I will need, and I add my hours. So this will kind of give roughly of how to price your products. So in order to start your business, you need to start thinking about your startup cost. So this is what money you will use to start the business, like equipment, if you need a special equipment for your business. I need a sewing machine, so that was one of my startup costs. I needed a new laptop for admin, that was one of my startup costs as well. You also think about packaging. Do you need to order special packagings? Do you need to order tissue papers that go, or bubble wraps that go into the packaging? Then you think of things like a website, your photo shoot or content if you need to do that. Insurance if you're going to sell in the marketplace, or rent if you want to rent a shop. You start to have to think of a rent, public liability insurance that you will need. Also have to think of if you're working with other people, so other local freelancers, or you're getting staff, you have to start thinking of how much you pay them and put that as your startup cost. And also ads. So this could be Facebook ad, Gmail, Google ads, and Instagram ad. So tracking your sales, because I sell my products on different platforms like Anchor and Etsy and my personal website, I need to track and know which platform sells more, so I know which platform to prioritize. So if I find out that actually I'm not getting a lot of money from Etsy, then I would put all my efforts, or most of my efforts, in Anchor or my website. If I'm getting more sales on Etsy, I will look into doing their ads or partaking in their business ads that they do, and that could be something, an expense for me. So running a business is not magic, it's not luck, it's all about understanding your numbers. This is how your business kind of communicates with you and tell you what it needs, what is lacking, and you could see what kind of product sells most. So at some point, one of your products will be selling so much more than the other ones. And by tracking your sales, that's how you know it. So you know if it's to increase the quantity of that product that is selling more. And for the product that is not selling, is it to reduce the quantity or diffuse it or remove it out of your line? So that's how you make decisions for your business, depending on how much or how tracking sales. So depending on how you track your sales. So if you've got any questions, please let me know. And I know it's quite overwhelming to get into bookkeeping because it's a sensitive topic and you don't want to make a lot of mistakes, and you're just not sure if it's right for your business. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Brilliant. Thanks, Lucas. Guys, please do bear Maria's example in mind as we move through the workshop. We do hope that you found the video useful and reassuring. And now it's your turn to go into working your financials. So when creating a financial plan, there are three main things that you want to get right. And these are the three things that we're going to work on tonight. So your personal budget, your own money, your cost and pricing, your MVP's money, and finally, your startup budget. How much money do you need to start the business? So let's just break it down and start with your personal finance. So just like reading and writing, being fluent in finance is a skill that you have to learn. And I'd really go as far as saying that being fluent in personal finance specifically is a life-saving skill that you really need to master. So even before you think of starting a business, you must understand your own personal financial situation. How much money do you need just to live your life? The reason it's important is because if you know at any given time how much money you need and how much you actually have in your pocket, you'll be able to create a vision for your business that is set in reality. And with a strong understanding of this, you'll be able to visualize the goal of selling enough product to meet both your personal and business financial needs. And for that, it's important that you cultivate a sense of growth. So as you probably know, a business grows over time and is going to take hard work and patience to expand your customer base. While you transition into being a full-time entrepreneur, you still need to live your life on a day-to-day. And this is where your personal finance comes into play because your income, your current income, will help you manage that transition. It will buy you time to build your business until you can afford your own full-time salary through that business. You can actually set up some of your income to buy some equipment, like some upfront costs, equipment or goods to make your product. So we know that some of you are in part-time jobs, some of you are in full-time jobs, and some there are also state benefits or a combination of that. So the point that we're making is when you switch over to fully running your business, you have to make sure that it's strong enough to help you maintain your lifestyle. And before you include these figures into your business plan, you have to sit down and review them. This is why the first step for business financial is actually understanding how much you need to cover your basic monthly living costs. So guys, we've shared a new tool with you in the Google Drive. It's the Term Financial Planning tool. It's a spreadsheet. It's separate from the roadmap. So on the first break, when you go into it, you'll be able to see it in your Google Drive. If you can't find it, just WhatsApp your Turn Coach and we'll send you the link. But the personal expense tab, the necessity budget tab, will look just like that. On one side, you will list all the budgets item you pay monthly. There are a bunch of items that are there because they're sort of the standard things that most people are paying monthly. And some will apply to you and some won't. But if they do not, just leave it at zero. Try not to delete any rows or anything because the spreadsheet has all the formulas in it. So when you enter all the figures, at the end, the spreadsheet will automatically calculate the amount for you. So this is when it gets obviously, hopefully really easy for you, is that all you have to do is enter the figure. You don't really have to calculate it. And it will also show you the cost per year. So it's very quick and it's very simple, and it will give you an accurate overview of how much you need to make through your business to maintain your lifestyle. Now, the reason we use that spreadsheet is to answer that question. Will you finish with a positive bank balance? So this is the money coming out. And if you scroll down while you're in the spreadsheet, you will see the personal income tab. So in there, you can just add all your income. So your job, any benefits you're receiving, any personal saving that you might use each month to help you cover your expenses. And here, you can probably see the challenge that that person might need to draw on their saving or going into debt. But let's say that they start drawing £500 salary from their business, and you can see that there are no building up saving. So if you see at the bottom, net bank balance, guys, that's just another word for how much money do you have left at the end of the month. Obviously, not many of us have like an extra 500 extra income to plug into your finance every month. And the reality is that mastering the art of living within your means might be the solution to help you start saving and be in a better position to become self-employed. So on these words, guys, we'll go straight into the first breakout. That'll be 15 minutes. So do go on the Google Drive, work on it with your mentor. It's the personal budget tab in the financial planning tool. Is there any question before we go in there, guys? Cool. Just so you know, you don't need to disclose anything you don't want to disclose in that tab. And it's also important to say that we only go into it when we work with you guys. So this information is yours and yours only. So remember, start with the basic rent, bills, grocery costs. It might feel a little bit awkward, but do not judge your current situation. Just try to have a hard look at where you're at right now with your personal finance. So Lucas, 15 minutes, please, whenever you're ready. I'll stop sharing. And on that note, we can move on to cost and pricing, guys. So that's the second thing that we want to talk about. So in theory, costing and pricing is very simple on paper. So you work out your costs, and then you charge a price that is higher than those costs, and then you've got your profit here. But in practice, the process is just a little bit more complicated because it's sometimes quite difficult to identify those costs. Then the reality is that essentially the price that you can charge is set by the marketplace, by the general marketplace of your industry. And then once you've done that, you also have to take into account the customer's perceived value of your product or service. What are people willing to pay in the end? So here are a few key elements that you sort of need to consider when you decide your pricing. So, you know, remember what Maria said. Obviously, the first one is cost. And when it comes to cost, I'd like to share with you guys, especially if this is your first time around with you know, looking at finance, sort of the two basic kind of costs, and then we'll keep it at that. There's no need to go any further. Work out your fixed costs, and it's sometimes called overhead. So that's the expenses that will come out every month, regardless of your sales. So your rent, the bills, business rate, and fixed salaries. So these will be your fixed costs. And also keep an eye on your variable cost. And sometimes it's called direct cost. But if you just stick with fixed and variable, you know, it's sort of, you know, save some brain energy and just stick with these two. The variable costs are the money you need to spend to produce and deliver the product or service. So supplies, ingredients, material, shipping costs, and staff wages, the people that help you deliver the product. And if you can just remember that variable costs move up and down with the level of business, and you have to manage these variable costs and not spend too much and spend a little bit more when it's busy, you'll be in a very good place when it comes to cost management. The second thing you need to think about, and I'm sure by now you know that, your customers, how valuable are the features of your product to them? What are they willing to pay for your product? So this information will help you assess if your price is right. And if you tested this year with Term, I hope that you understand now why we encouraged everyone to actually ask the testers that how much will you pay for this, so you can get like a range of different prices. The third I guess element that you need to think of are your competitors. So who are your competitors? What are they charging for the same product? What features are they offering for those price? And how are they positioned into the marketplace? Same again, looking at that will give you the answers, and also a kind of benchmark in the industry, in your industry, for your pricing. And once you know about your customer and competitors, you can decide on your positioning. Where will you be within your industry? Would you like to be at sort of the top end or high end, the most expensive one, the best service? Or would you like to be the most affordable one, or maybe in the middle? When you make this decision, you also need to think about your resources. Where can you afford to be? Do you have the means to be at the top end, or can you only afford to stay at the mid-range? And the last thing you need to think about, guys, is your own industry profit margin. So the marketplace, in a sense, will dictate your profit margin. There's a limit for each industry when it comes to how much you can charge, and you can influence those margins. You can really sell really close to the wind with good cost management and by monitoring prices and innovation in your chosen field. If one of your competitors suddenly keep the same quality and lower its price drastically, and you know that is not a sale or temporary, but just permanently, then maybe they found out something that you might need to sort of look at and do the same. There might be an innovation in your fields that can sort of help you with the margin. So we find that these elements are quite helpful when it comes to setting your price. So keep this in mind. Right, in your financial planning tool in your Google Drive, you'll have your spreadsheet will have tabs just like that. So we're just gonna go through and do a quick demo just so you sort of get an idea how that thing works. So here, remember what Maria did in the video at the beginning. So you take all the components of your product or the units. So the unit would be, for example, for Maria, the unit would be a piece of lingerie or a headgear. What we call unit here would be whatever item, a dish, a dress, whatever is your product. And you take the various components of the unit and you just add them into the spreadsheet. Then you decide your price. So you can sort of do like Maria. You do need to charge more than the product cost. I'm pretty sure you know that. And this is where it gets really, really interesting, guys. It's because the spreadsheet will do all the hard work for you. So this is what we're trying to say, is that it's intimidating, but it can be really easy. Finance can be really easy because the spreadsheet does the work for you. So here you have the profit. And at the bottom, you have the profit margin. Now, the reason is called gross profit margin. It's because out of those £4, you still need to pay your overhead. So remember the fixed cost, and then you also need to think about taxes and then various other costs. This is why pricing is so important, because you need to make a profit big enough to account for all these costs. And like we talked about, if you really want to be confident about this, you can check the price of your competitors. You can check the surveys, data you collected from customers or from market research. And do remember to use Cobra. If you haven't done it, ask your turn coach. It's a fantastic tool. They have literally accurate, up-to-date information in all the industries you can think of. And in there, there's also the benchmark, the profit margin per industry. The reason I know that is because I looked in it. So it's in there for you guys if you want that information. Very quickly, we're moving on to a couple of examples. Just to show you, basically, just like Maria, what anyone would do. So let's start with a product. So this is Dottie. Dottie is a seamstress and a designer who loves working with secondhand fabric. She's just enjoying being creative. And this is more just of a side hustle. But the principle is the same. If she wants this to work, she'll have to look at her cost. So guys, very quickly here, you can see that she did exactly what Maria did. She just broke down her product into all the components that makes the product, including her time. So 3 hours of work. So remember to include that. It's important if you want your business to be successful. And also the flyers, postage and packaging. So all this is included in the cost. She decided to price the dress at £65. And again, the spreadsheet is doing all the work for her. So the cost per unit per dress, the cost per dress is £47.95, £65, and the profit is £17.05. So a profit margin of 26%. Now, within the spreadsheet, you can actually calculate the sale per month as well. So Dottie is settling for 10 dress per month. Will give £655 at a cost of £479.50. And again, the spreadsheet will do all the calculations for you guys. And you could see at the end a profit of 170 and a margin of 26%. Now, remember the gross profit. So out of this 170, Doty will have to pay some overhead because it's just a side hustle. It might be nothing, you know, it might be just £20. But what I would like to draw your attention to is that Doty already paid herself. Now, so at the end of the month, Doty is making close to £450 because in the cost of the product, she included her salary. And the last question is, how would she know? How did she go for 65? Within your spreadsheets, you also have a tab for competitor pricing. So you can add these. And again, guys, it becomes really easy because the spreadsheet does all the work for you. And the spreadsheet will calculate the average of all your competitors. And as you can see, at £65, Doty is around 2.5% cheaper than the average competition. So as far as she's concerned, she's doing it right, and she can just carry on because she's not losing money because she priced the item, the unit, the dress, the right price. This also works if you're in the service industry. And I just want to sort of draw your attention again to the cost in the service industry. What you really need to work out is your time. How much do you value your time, and make sure you value it right. So this is Nathan. Nathan is an event producer who's decided to start a gong meditation event for people looking for peace of mind after work. And he really carefully cost his expense in terms of time. So the prep event, 12 hours at 11:05, so which is a London living wage. Doty did the same in a spreadsheet. The event delivery is also included, so 4 hours. This is work that you need to charge for. And we know that it's very difficult when you start, but you have to do that. You really have to put in the hours in your cost. The rent, again, more hours here for collaborators, so freelance gong musician. A little bit of refreshment tea for 30 people, include your travel, going to the venue, coming back from the venue, and again, flyers and commission for websites. So this is all good habits to get into when it comes to costing. So £600 revenue at a gross profit of 105.50. So £600 would be, so the unit, guys, for Nathan would be one session of gong meditation. And £600 would be the revenue that it will get out of doing it for 30 people at £20. Now, Nathan would settle for doing 6 events a month at a revenue of 3,600 and at a cost of 2,967. And as you can see, the spreadsheet, it does exactly the same. It will calculate the gross profit, the margin, and what he's got left at the end of the month. So he's got a profit of £633. Now, the things about the margin, so just because Doty had a higher margin within her industry and that Nathan had 18%, doesn't mean that he's making a mistake or that he doesn't know what he's doing. It's two different industries. So work out the profit margin, the benchmark in your industry, and make sure that you have enough gross profit to have some left after you paid for the overhead for the taxes. Right. So guys, before we go into the breakouts, we're going to take a 5-minute break. And before we go into that break, I would like to know if there are any questions, guys. Cool. In that case, please, if you would like to take 5 minutes, just, grab a tea. And if you could come back at 6:47, so we can go into the second breakout, that'd be absolutely fantastic. See you in 5 minutes, or breakout. So 20 minutes, trying out the pricing table. So go to the tab pricing in the financial planning tool and try to work out the cost of one item of one of your products in that breakout with your mentor. I'll stop sharing again, and Lucas, if you're good to go, then you can just send everyone in. I hope you had a chance to start working on your pricing, guys. And without much transition, let's move on to the last bit, which is your startup cost. Is my screen okay, Lucas? I didn't see the green thing.
It looks great.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So yes, startup cost, guys. Your budget. So the question is, what do you really need to get started? Like really, in the end, you really want to have a final startup budget that has been well researched and well adjusted, so that you can bring it to investors or a bank or funders to show them how much you will actually need to start the business. And the reality is that it's gonna take time, and it's gonna take more than one draft to get there. But we can definitely get you started this evening. So the best way basically to come up with a startup budget is to look at two things. So first, you'll have to look at your one-off costs. So the things that you'll have to buy once, but that are necessary to getting the business started, basically. So anything like tools and equipment, permit, license, any course, things like marketing design, website, and sort of the initial stock. So if you're a food business, you'll have to buy your initial ingredients. If you want to make clothes, you'll have to buy initial stock, the material, to have something to start with. Then you want to look at the running costs and try to think about a time where you need to cover for these running costs. So a timeline. So we recommend 6 months. So try to plan for 6 months of running costs, just so you have time to sort of push back any setback and get the business off the ground and have enough capital basically to run the business for 6 months until it can run itself. So when we think about running costs, pretty obviously anything that you need to buy to create your product. So ongoing stock and inventory, salary and wages, guys. If you're gonna work with people, make sure you have enough to pay them in the long run. Well, between 3 and 6 months. Subscription, rent, but that's not all, guys. You also need to keep in mind things like at some point taxes, but more importantly, maybe loan repayment, insurance payments, utilities, marketing costs. All these things are just a handful of potential costs that you need to consider, and some will be fixed and some will be variable. So in your spreadsheet, it will look just like that. Again, what we try to do for you, we try to make it really easy. So all you have to do is enter a category name. So it could be equipment, stencils, anything that you need to start. Then you can put here the name of the item, the name of the thing that you want to buy. A link would be great for your own record, and how many you need, then the price. And here again, the spreadsheets will actually do the calculation for you. So just to give you a tip, guys, within the spreadsheet, within all the tabs, all the colored cells have formulas in it. All you have to do is fill in the white cell. So name and price, and then the colored one will do the calculation for you. We really try to make it easy for you. And same for your running costs. So category, product or service, link, price, cost per month. And then here you have the number of months. So we recommend 6, it could be less, any more than that. It's kind of, you're gonna need a lot of capital. So between 3 and 6, remember guys. And then again, the spreadsheet will do the calculation for you. In the end, you will end up with a total startup cost made up your one-off costs and your recurring costs. And this is something tangible you can take into a financial meeting. So if we go back to our example, so if we take Dotty, for example, I'll just go through these really briefly. So you have time to go into the breakout. Dotty would do exactly the same. So same as Maria would have done as well. So you just sort of list all the things that you need to start the business. And here you can see that Dotty's one-off cost total is 702. If she wished to trial the business for 3 months, which you can see here. So she put 3 in the number of months, and then she accounted for all the recurring costs she thinks she will need, including her own salary. So renting a desk in a sewing studio, and then her salary for sourcing and producing the material, and then the usual phone bills, accountant, Google. This gives you recurring cost of 1,911, and then we're probably looking at £2,600 sort of startup costs. Now, what I'd like to draw your attention to is that number here. So the monthly cost of running the business are around £637. Now, if you remember in the example, Dotty is her revenues are 650 after she paid herself. So you can see that she's just about to break even. She's not losing money, but she's just about breaking even. So she's not doing anything wrong, but in that example, she could start thinking about things to actually reduce her recurring cost. Maybe she could work faster, she could outsource more material, but working that way will give you a visual when it comes to pinpointing where you can reduce your cost to make a bigger profit. And for Nathan, it would be exactly the same. So one-off cost that it would work out at 555. So again, if you're in the same field as Nathan, what you're gonna need, you're probably gonna need a meditation gong, some decorative carpets, a t-shirt with branding. So you need to think of all this for your brand. And then the recurring costs. Now these are quite heavy because he's running a service with a lot of people, and he needs to hire places that he doesn't own or that he doesn't have. So his recurring costs come up at over £8,000 just to run the business for 3 months. So we're probably looking at something like over £9,000 startup budget, which seems like a lot. But again, when you look at the monthly costs, and if you remember Nathan revenue that were about 3,600, he's not in a bad place. Again, after he paid himself, he's not in a bad place to actually carry on with the business and include a loan repayment in his cost to start repaying the 9,000 plus that he would need to start his business. So you have to look at it that way, and factoring that in, the one-off cost and the recurring cost will help you visually to understand what you need to do. So without much transition, we're gonna go back into a breakout, the last one. And guys, you're gonna just try to do the same. So in your financial planning tool, you go to the tab Startup Budget. It's tab number 2 at the bottom. And then you can just start outlining your startup cost in that spreadsheet. Is there any question before we go in? Cool. In that case, Lucas, it's 15 minutes in the breakout. I'll stop sharing now. Right. So as we draw to a close, before we talk about the to-dos and what's next, we just want to share a few bits of information about some of the partners, the people we work with that got access to finance. And the first one we'd like to talk about is Crowdfunder. .co.uk. So it's a great organization that just help organizational companies just raise funds through people. And the entrepreneurs that we work with in the past have a decent track record at raising funds through crowdfunders. So across various programs, we had raised over £30,000 across 10 campaigns. So as you can see on the left, these are all the aggregate campaign, all the entrepreneurs we worked with over various programs with Turn. And some of them have been quite successful. I just would like to sort of point out that this sum is the average of those 10 campaigns. And in the last campaign, we have a very successful one. I don't know if you can read. His name is Khaled, top at the sort of second line. Khaled, Test of Syria, and he managed to raise over £15,000. He is not from London. He lives in Exeter, and he's got quite a huge local following. Lucky for him. But this is one of the things that we can help you with, and it's very real. If you really prepare a really good campaign with really good pre-order, you can be really successful at crowdfunding, and that's something that we can help you with. The next bit I'd like to show you is British Business Bank. British Business Bank is running a scheme called Startup Loan, and that bank is partially funded by the government. And Startup Loan is a scheme that, as it says, help just small businesses. And the good thing about British Business Bank is Turn has a link with them, so we can actually help you apply for that scheme. But it's very much the same. You will need a sound, serious financial plan and business plan before you go to them, and credit checks will apply. So we will need to sort of go a bit deeper in terms of cash flow forecast and projection, but we can help you with that. And also, it's really important that we say that although we work with them, we have no say in the final decision. So if they decide that you're not ready, there's not much that Turn can do. What we can do is prepare you for the next trial. So help you better look at what needs to be done. That we can do. So hopefully, Lucas, you'll be able to share some of these links in the chat. Guys, take some screenshots, but ask your Turn coach if you'd like to know more. And the last one, Equal Access Loan, quite interesting because they specialize in helping refugees. And it's great because it's interest-free, up to £4,000, and you got 4 years to repay. A couple of things, they got a couple of caveats in the website. So you must have refugee status, and the project that you applying for, the help that you need, you must have been the same in your field. It must have been the same field in your country of origin. So you must have worked in the same field in your country of origin, and you must begin repayment immediately as well. So this is the link here, and it should be in the chat as well. We just wanted to share this information with you, although it's a little bit early. There are real pathways to finance that you can sort of work with Turn during your journey to become an entrepreneur. Here we are. What's next? As usual, guys, we're gonna go through your to-dos, couple of events that are coming, and the coaching session 4 with your turn coach. So suggested to do, this will be very simple, guys. It's all about the pitch this week. You probably know that. So finish and practice. Work with your coach, work with your mentor, get in a good place so you can sort of perform, you know, your best foot forward, as they say, on Thursday, and try to finish your deck as well. Let us know if you need help with that. We love a good slide deck here at Turn, so we can definitely help you with that. And you know, start relaxing for Thursday. We're here to support you. It should be good fun. As you know, this is the pitch jam, July 28th, 5:15, 7:45 in this very building, the Hoxton building, guy. This is where it's happening. You know that already. Try your first pitch, network a little, get some feedback on your first business presentation. And we have the rooms here. So guys, if you see yourselves, have a quick look. We've put you with your peer in the same field. And if you're at the top to bottom, if you see yourself at the top, that means that there's a good chance that you'll be the first one to go. So let us know if you're okay with the order. This can be changed. If you're comfortable with it, this is how it's gonna look like. And we're very excited. We're very excited to see what you've prepared. Right, next, graduation. Guys, do not miss this one. No workshop, no spreadsheets, nothing, no WhatsApp message. Just show up, have some fun. There'll be some food, there'll be some music. And we just want to celebrate. We want to celebrate you. We want to celebrate your hard work. We want to celebrate the end of the program. And we also want to celebrate the beginning of your journey into you know, being a small business owner. So it's next Wednesday, 6 to 8:30, Crypto on the Green. You'll receive lots of comment about it. Do not miss that, guys. It's your party. You make this happen. QR code here that leads you to the Eventbrite. If you want to invite some people, give you a few seconds to scan it. Right. And that's like, just to say, guys, that just because this is the end of the program, this is not the end of your relationship with Turn. Once you're in the community, well, you can pretty much stay in there as much as you'd like. We're here to support you, and we want you to keep getting support, even though this is the end of the program, because you're not part of the Turn alumni group. And there's also a group on Mighty Network that you can join and still get support. You can still ask questions, and you can still benefit from the wider community. So there's a bit.ly here, and there's also a QR code. You know, we love these. So if you want to join that group and you want to keep in touch with us, there will be obviously discussions about your next step and how we can help you. Do not worry. But if you want to do it right now and sort of get that one, you know, sort of ticked out and be in the alumni group, feel free to scan that QR code. And when it comes to coaching session 4, your Turn coach will be in touch with you to discuss the next step after the program. There's a ton of options. There are more programs. There are other things that we do to help you, and it's all up to you. The choice is yours. We're just here to support you, and we'll just accompany you wherever you choose to go. And guys, it's time for feedback. Our favorite slide, the last feedback slide you'll ever see for a little while, unless you come back and work with us. Do give some feedback. This is your last chance to give us some feedback. Tell us anything and everything. What did you think of that workshop? What did you think of the program? What did you think? We want to know. Please give us some feedback.